My dear community and friends, I heard a story some years ago that took place during the Holocaust. Sadly, the Germans, Yimach Shemam, knew that Yom Kippur was fast approaching, and they decided to find any mikveh that was still in existence and to cover it up, to fill it with cement, to ensure that no Jew would have the ability to go to mikveh before Yom Kippur. There was a Hasidic Rebbe at the time who, of course, was devastated, who was heartbroken. He couldn't believe that in more than 70 years, this would be the first time he would not have the opportunity to go to mikveh. The story goes on that a few nights before Yom Kippur, or possibly the night before Yom Kippur, he gets woken up by a young child and he says, Rebbe, come with me. We found a mikveh. And the Rebbe couldn't believe it. He stood up and he said, we have to be so careful. It's curfew. If we go out now, we could possibly, chas v'shalom, be killed. But he followed the young boy and they went and they snuck and they went through different places. And he arrived at a place and he saw many Yidden waiting there, waiting to go to the mikveh. What had they discovered? There was a small hole that had been dug out, that had been scraped out, possibly for the last few weeks. Someone had noticed that there was a mikveh there, but it had been covered, and they scraped through the cement to get through the wall. And there was a little opening to be able to go into the mikveh. And the Rebbe watched as one by one, each person took a turn, fitting through that small hole to be able to go through this holy and special ritual before Yom Kippur. We are now at the cusp of Yom Kippur, 5781. It's going to be a different Yom Kippur for all of us, something which we're not used to. Many of us won't even be able to go to shul. But I think Yom Kippur is a time where we are supposed to metaphorically make these holes, to scrape out these holes into holiness, to find these abilities, to go through, to find an opening in our lives, to find Kedusha, to find holiness, to find meaning, to change things as they were in the year gone by, and to make commitments to the year going forward. I think there's three very special areas in which we can commit and hopefully metaphorically scrape our way through and make an opening that we can improve in these areas, that we can shine a light of holiness into these areas. Our Kabbalists speak about three dimensions: Olam, Zman, and Nefesh. And I'd like to suggest that these three areas, which I'll of course explain, are ways in which we can hopefully start to make those openings, to widen them, to allow us to go and find holiness in these areas. Olam represents the world, space, location. If we go back in time, of course, we had the Beis HaMikdash, the temple, we had the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies. We recognize that this was a holy place. There was something special about it. We have synagogues today. But unfortunately, what COVID has done to us, it's closed our synagogues. It's made us recognize that the place where we are supposed to create holiness is in fact the home. Our homes need to be a place of holiness. If they're not, then we need to start making that whole and revealing and opening the ability to create our homes as homes and places of holiness. Would our ancestors, if they were to come visit, would they say, this is a Yiddish home, this is a holy home? Yes, we're all, people wait in lines to buy the latest gadgets. When they release the new iPhones, before COVID, obviously, there would be lines and queues and packs to get it. I need the latest thing. When was the last time we went and bought a Yiddish book, a sefer, something to learn? When was the last time we turned our home into a place of Kedusha, of sanctity? Let's make that opening and allow this year our homes to become that place of holiness. Of course, we have Zman. Besides for a holy place, we have a holy time. Today more than ever, we have everything to assist us to get things quicker. If your phone takes an extra second to try and download a page, we get frustrated, we get really annoyed. It needs to be now. How much have we stopped and said, slow down, let's look at time in a way that we need to turn time into a holy experience. And of course, what greater experience of the holiness of time is Shabbos, like Shabbos. Shabbos says, stop. Recognize that at time you need to create a cocoon, if you like, a space, make that whole in terms of your time. Every day when you get up in the morning, say Moedeh Ani, thank you Hashem. Create those first few minutes of your day. When you wake up, when you open your eyes and say, this is a holy experience. As I said, there's so much rushing, we're rushing all day. Shabbos tells us to stop, to slow down. And Yom Kippur, of course, is the Shabbos of all Shabboses. Slow down. Take those moments to recognize and appreciate time. The very first mitzvah that the Jewish people were given after they left Egypt was to sanctify time. We were given the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh. Let us make that time special. We're rushing all day, all night. Slow down, find holiness in time. Shabbos comes every week and it tells us, I used to speak to, and still do, a number of non-Jewish school groups who are exploring different faiths. And I remember telling some of the teenagers from the high school students and said, every Friday afternoon when the sun sets, I turn off my phone. I don't look at my phone. I don't check Facebook. I don't go on Instagram. I don't answer phone calls. And you should have seen their faces. How could that be, Rabbi? How could you turn off? The truth is, I wasn't turning off. In fact, I was switching on. I was finding holiness within time. I was making time holy and recognizing this gift of time that Hashem has, Baruch Hashem, thankfully given all of us. And the final one is nefesh, the soul, ourselves, a hole into the nefesh, an opening into the soul. And perhaps there's one way. It's recognizing what is truly valuable in this world, what really means something in our lives. And for this, I would like to share one further story. This takes place in around 1976, as far as I recall. A rabbi in New York is blessed with a grandchild, his first grandchild. The problem was the Brit Milah was to take place on Yom Kippur. And the issue was that his son, who had the child, lived some further place in a different state, and he would have to unfortunately leave his community for Yom Kippur. And the rabbi was caught with this major dilemma. How could I leave my community on Yom Kippur, the day where it's the biggest crowd, where I can give the best drasha? At the same time, it's my first grandchild. What am I going to do? That Yom Kippur, the congregants came into shul and they found a letter on each of their seats. And the letter basically went something along these lines. And it said, my dear community, for years I've been preaching and teaching us what is supposed to be the right way to view life. How do we find meaning? How do we see what's really valuable? We get so caught up with all the different things that at the end of the day are not worth anything. They don't come with us to the next world. And so I decided what better way to teach you this is to teach you this and to preach than to follow my own words. And I decided that I have to go be there with my son and with his grandchild, the bris of our first grandchild. Please take this message as a message that each of you should find meaning and holiness in your own lives. My dear friends, 6 months later, this rabbi passed away at the young age of 53 years old. And I was thinking about this story, and I was thinking, had he decided, look, I want to be there to talk and to be there with my community, and of course that's obviously also valuable things, but he made a decision to go with his heart, to go with meaning, to see what's really valuable, and Baruch Hashem he did. Baruch Hashem he didn't say, I'll wait till the next grandchild. On Yom Kippur we recite Yizkor, a time where we reflect on our loved ones, and we are told that our loved ones in a sense come to us. And it's so meaningful, it's so beautiful, because in a way, when we think about our loved ones, we remember this concept of nefesh. For them, it's no longer meaningful, an iPhone, a gadget, going to the movies. What's meaningful is what actually goes with us, the love, the connection to Hashem, the mitzvot that we do, the kindness that we share with others. That's what we have to do. Start making those openings into your nefesh. Start saying, what am I doing with my life? Am I spending time with the meaningful things? Am I spending time with my loved ones? Am I serving my Creator, or am I wasting time? Am I closing? Am I cementing a hole into the nefesh, into the soul? So this Yom Kippur, just like that rabbi, that Hasidic Rebbe, who had to find that little hole, that little opening to go to mikveh, let us this year all metaphorically start scraping away, start making those openings into creating holy spaces, into creating holy time, to recognizing and valuing time, and of course to having that opening, that window into our souls to say, nefesh, this is who I am, this is what is important for me, and this is what I'm going to spend my next year ensuring that I find and make it special, holy, meaningful. For me and my dear wife, Rabbi and Sarah, and our children, I want to wish you a Gemar Chatima Tova. May we all be inscribed and sealed in the book of life, health, happiness, joy, sweetness, the true meaning of the word sweetness, only have good things, and may we be able to celebrate together for many, many more years to come. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. Peace and blessings to you and your families. Thank you.